Okay, only 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Oh god, I'm gonna fail for sure. What's the point of even trying? Oh, I'm so useless. No, step out of it. All I have to do is not sleep, not eat, and not shower. I can do it. Oh, jeez. No, wake up, Joe. Yep, cool. Jesus.
One eternity later.
Okay, my brain hurts. Let's go. Okay, let's do this. I got this. No. Let's talk about negative thinking styles. Hey guys, welcome back. So I know this period of time may be quite stressful for you, whether you've got exams or you're job hunting or you've recently dropped a burrito on the ground. I don't know, but life can be tough and life can be stressful. When I was in uni, I experienced a lot of academic anxiety, and I unconsciously had all of these self-sabotaging, unhelpful thought patterns, but I go into more detail in my video, Mental Health Journey. So once I realized that my anxiety got really bad, I went to get some help from a counselor, and they introduced to me this resource, which I don't have in my hand, this resource that just lists out all of these unhelpful, I think that's coffee, all of these unhelpful thinking patterns that I will go through in today's video. So while I use examples that are relevant to exams, honestly, you can just apply it to any life situation. But of course, if you're experiencing distress or if you need additional support, please seek out professional help, whether it be a counselor, a psychologist, or just share your experiences with a friend or family member. Okay, let's begin. Number 1, magnification or catastrophizing. This is one I'm amazing at, if I do say so myself. And basically in exams, I would think if I don't get this grade or if I don't do well here, it's over. I had that self-imposed pressure because at that time I wanted to do med, I thought I would be good at med. And quite honestly, I just thought this is my last chance. Honestly, what is over, or why is this my last chance? Because I never actually put it down on paper or really conceptualized my fears, they just became this huge mess inside of my head. So to get out of this tunnel vision, they recommended these things called Socratic questions. And I think the ones that are most applicable for catastrophizing are, is this an exaggeration of what's true? Or ask yourself, is this scenario likely or the worst case scenario? And then what I like to do, although it is counterintuitive, is to ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario? So for example, if I use my exam anecdote, it would be that I would have to delay my course by 1 semester because if I fail an exam, that's what would happen. I have to repeat. I think that's it. Just delaying my degree. And when you think of it like that, it just doesn't seem that bad. But in the moment, I had severe tunnel vision. And I think that anxiety really likes to do is ask those what if questions. So what if this happens, or what if that happens? And a tip that I heard, actually I don't know where I heard it from, but it's to answer these what if questions. So what if my exam goes bad? Okay, well then you'll just have to repeat it. Or what if I don't get that job? Okay, well I guess I don't have the job, but I can apply for other things. When you actually take the time to answer these what if questions, it lets your rational mind just creep back in and be like, I'm back. Number 2, jumping to conclusions. So this could be picturing yourself getting the exam and either the internet disconnects or you look at the first question and you don't know what to do. And all of these thoughts are so self-sabotaging because you're predicting what will happen even though it's probably not likely that it will happen. And this idea of jumping to conclusions could be someone saying something or you saying something and fearing that it will be taken a different way and jumping to the conclusion that everyone will hate you, all of which is quite irrational. So the question that you can ask yourself when you jump to conclusions is, what is the likelihood of that happening? Number 3, using the words should, must, ought to. So in uni, I sacrificed a lot of my well-being and my health to study. And I unconsciously had these thoughts of I should, I must, and I have to study for this long. turns out to be very unhealthy, and I actually have my thingo again just to make a reappearance, just to re-emphasize how unhealthy my study schedule was. So in the morning I would cram, and then I would eat, and then I'd cram, then I'd walk fizzle, and then I'd cram, and then I'd eat dinner, and then I'd cram. I'm not joking, I literally, I wrote my schedule down. The first step that really helped me was just to be aware of when I should myself, or when I say I have to or I must. And then when you catch yourself with these words of should, must, have to, try changing the wording. So instead of saying should, must, or have to, you can say I could, I would prefer to, I would like to. Now you're not ordering yourself around. You're not pressuring yourself to have to do something. You're giving yourself the suggestion of, I would like to do this. I would prefer to do this. So another word changing method I actually heard from Seth Godin, and is to change the word but to and. So for example, instead of saying, I would like to study more, but I have to take a break, you could say, I would like to study more and I will take a break. It's like opening yourself up to opportunities and not saying, but I have to do it, and I get to do it. I can do both. So a question that I think would also help with the should, must, have to is, am I having this thought out of habit? Number 4, all or nothing thinking. So this is a thinking where you're like, I have to give 100%. So with my studying, I said I have to study all the time because the time that I'm not, I'm slacking off, and that could mean that I'd lose some points. Irrational. So I realized I actually had an underlying thought of, I don't have enough, and for me it was time, but for someone else it could be I don't have enough smartness, or I don't have enough opportunities or resources, etc. And this is the mindset of scarcity. So to stop reinforcing this scarce mindset, what I would do is that I would intentionally take a break despite me thinking I don't have enough time, I need to spend all of it studying. I'd only take something minuscule like 5 minutes and then see, was it as bad as I thought it'd be? And basically, no, it wasn't as bad, so I would write it down and I would literally create a reference list of the times when I overcame I don't have time. And so when you're in those vulnerable times when you're thinking I don't have enough willpower or I don't have enough time, you can look at this list and remind yourself that you can do it. Number 5, labeling. So this could range from anything like I'm stupid to my thoughts or my labels of I'm not capable and I can't cope. So for example, I am not capable of studying and taking time off, or I can't cope with this stress. So a tip that I mentioned beforehand is to write down evidence to say that yes, you are capable, yes, you can cope. What are the times when you have been able to do that? The idea is just to give yourself more evidence that you can do something, that you're not living up to this negative label. And a question that you can ask yourself when you label is this thought black and white, or is reality more complicated? Number 6, overgeneralizing. You'll start to realize that this advice can apply to a lot, or maybe all of these unhelpful thinking styles. So with overgeneralizing, you're thinking limiting things like nothing goes the way I planned, or everything is wrong with me, or something that is so black and white. So when you think that, try to prove yourself wrong. Create a long list of evidence and ask yourself, am I misinterpreting evidence? Am I making assumptions? And am I factoring in all evidence or just what supports my thoughts? And I'll just quickly go over the last few unhelpful thinking styles. So first, there's emotional reasoning, where we assume that if we feel a certain way, then what we think or label ourselves to be must be true. So for example, I feel stressed, so I must not be able to cope. Mental filter, so a selective attention to negativity or a confirmation bias that reinforces something negative about yourself or others. For example, seeing only failures or ways things have gone wrong. And lastly, personalization, blaming someone else or yourself for something that has happened. Again, you can ask yourself, am I factoring in all the evidence or just what supports my thoughts? So with all of these unhelpful thinking styles, the first step really is to just be aware of when you do them. From experience, trying to push these negative, frustrating things away from you actually makes it worse long term. So what I've actually come to do now when I have intrusive thoughts, when I have these, self-sabotaging moments, is to first be aware of these thoughts and then literally go, thank you for trying to help me, because I know this is like a biological mechanism, a defense mechanism, but I'm pretty safe, I'm good, thank you, but no thanks. So essentially you're politely declining the use of unhelpful thinking styles. You're not pushing it away, you're acknowledging it, but you're not going to immerse yourself in it. I really hope that helps. Maybe not, but at least being aware of it can be one step closer to managing your thoughts. Okay, well, I will see you next time. Bye!